Welcome into Black and Gold Insider. This is the show where we get to know the members of the Black and Gold a little bit better. I am Max Bretos, and returning to the program, the one and only Co-President and Owner Larry Freedman. Great to see you, Larry. I got to talk about some big news that happened. You know what it's all about, right?
Well, first of all, Max, we have to stop meeting this way.
What's wrong? This is the best way to meet. It allows us to get a little closer. And then when we see each other in person, it's like we pick up where we left off.
There you go. Great to be here as always.
Awesome. We know I speak on behalf of the audience. They love it when you're on there and to be so open about the workings of the club. And I want to talk. We all know there was a seismic moment that happened with this club very recently, and we want to address it. Next September, BMO Stadium, Iron Maiden, Megadeth.
Yes, all with no qualification. All other news pales in comparison, Max.
Wipe it off the board. Maiden, Megadeth, and Anthrax coming to BMO Stadium. But that's for 2026. I'm, of course, talking what happened in August, the arrival of Son Heung-Min. And we're going to talk about a great many topics, but I think we've had a couple months to absorb his arrival and see what it all means for the now and the future. So we certainly wanted to focus in on that. It's a game-changing moment. I wanted to get your thoughts about your realization when you saw this coming into view that this player was coming to this club.
Yes, sir. As you can imagine, as I have said before and others have said, my co-president and our GM, John Thorrington, is someone who is playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers. We have had many, many conversations about a number of top tier players on the planet in the game of football. And so when this topic first came up and rumors started getting around or whatever, and people would ask me, like, is this for real? I would shake my head, laugh, and say, yeah, like 1,000,000 to 1, right? Because as has been reported, the financial commitment is something that we have not made at this level previously.
Of course, yeah.
And, there's also the player side of it. And this is a player who is still, playing at or near the highest level he's ever played at, captain of his national team, World Cup around the corner. And, every now and then you encounter players that, want to play in the right league leading up to a World Cup because they have a national team coach that feels one way or the other, whatever the factors. So many things have to fall into place and go right to get to he said yes, and we have a deal. When you finally wake up on the day and realize, oh my God, this is happening. It was, mind-blowing, just mind-blowing that at this point in his career, at this still relatively early stage of our club, to have a player of this stature at this point in his career come to join us was really just something beyond our wildest dreams. And look, the reality has been better than the wildest dreams. Let's call it what it is.
We have seen just the reaction and the impact that his arrival here on our YouTube channels. It's been phenomenal. Yeah. Everything's gone through the roof. It's great for all of us. I know it's great for the league. We'll talk about Lionel Messi a little bit later, but this is a high tide that raises all the boats in MLS. I'm curious, what was the reaction from Major League Soccer when you alerted them, hey, this is happening?
Yeah. I think as, obviously the way the league works, John, Neil, others on the soccer operations side of the house are working agreement through the league. So folks like Todd Durbin and others were aware sooner. But then it, kind of leaks over to the commercial side of the offices in New York City. And, several years ago, when I had a discussion with someone there and said, we're going to sign Gareth Bale, the reaction was, stop it. There's no, what? Stop it. That's not
They
happening.
believe you now.
They believe us now. And obviously, Leo Messi going to Miami opens the door for all comers, right? So, what's going to be a surprise after, Messi? But people are really excited because, look, you want as many marquee players in our league as possible that have the global reputations. I would say that, Denny Bouanga is a marquee player who found his way to that status here. A player like Sonny walks in the door with the status. And I think our league has done a wonderful job of developing talents like Denis and others. But the more players at the level of Sonny, Messi, some of the guys that are leaving Miami at the end of the season, they just added another guy. Players like that raise the profile of the league and just make it more acceptable, more inviting to the best players on the planet. So I think it's all good. And the reaction has been, fantastic, not only from folks at the league office, but from our compadres at other clubs in the league who are excited that a player like Sonny is here now. And for those in the Western Conference, they get to see him. And, obviously we find our way to some Eastern Conference clubs depending on the schedule. So everybody's really, really excited about it.
And you think about that San Jose game, they play it at Levi's and they get to fill it up a little bit because people want to see Son Heung-Min. With regards to his impact, we've seen it on the field, when they had that LAFC skyrocket up the standings, have really improved their playoff positioning. But what has impressed you about his impact on the field, in the stadium, at LAFC HQ, these kind of things? What are those things that really stick out for you?
Well, I mean, it's one of these things where I could answer you, Max, by saying what hasn't impressed me, right? Like you go from the first time you walk into a room with Sonny and you realize how warm and welcoming and kind he is as an individual. It's one of those things where he makes you feel like you went to grade school together, not unlike Giorgio, super warm, super welcoming, friendly, very casual and natural in the conversation. His performance on the field has been stellar. And I think, as the commercial guy, I will say, I don't know that I ever would have expected the immediacy and the level of the chemistry with Denis and others, which has been a pleasant surprise, right? You take a great player and you put him on the field with 10 other players and you hope for the best, but you never know, right? If you think back, I mentioned Bale. When Bale and Vela were on the field together towards the end of 22, there were games where the commentators on the broadcast were saying things like, these two can't be on the field at the same time. They're too similar, right? You never said that. It was other people in the booth. But
and some said that about Sonny and Denny at the beginning.
Yeah, but it has been, if you are a football fan, forget about being an LAFC fan. If you are a football fan, this is just beautiful, entertaining, fun to watch. And then you see the impact it's had on the show rate in the building and getting new people in the building, right? Obviously, there are a lot of people who have found interest in LAFC who did not have interest before, which is great because we have always believed that if we can get you into BMO Stadium once, we will have you back because you will have an amazing experience. You will see the 3252 in all its glory. You will see a great product on the field. You'll have a great experience and you're going to want to come back. And we see it in broadcast viewership. On Apple, it was up 60% following Sonny's arrival. We're now on a couple of outlets, Coupang and Spo TV in Korea, which has effectively doubled our global viewership. You mentioned YouTube. The metrics on YouTube are, couple 1,000% growth across all of the social media metrics, engagement, video views, new followers, all triple digits now. We were strong double digits, but now we're into the triple digits. And look, anecdotally, it's not unusual now where tour buses with folks from Southeast Asia show up
I've seen it happen.
in the middle of the week at HQ, the team store at BMO Stadium, and they all walk out with a couple of bags full of scarves, hats, jerseys, etc. So, early returns, right? Because it's only been a couple months, but the early returns are that, we're headed in a really, really strong direction, and it's very exciting for the club.
I've had a couple folks dial me up about, hey, can we get a Son, a number 7 jersey? I can't respond because that's a hot property.
It is a very hot property. In very short order, the primary black kits were gone. There's still some white and gold secondary kits available, but it's one of these high class problems, right? You wish you had known, because unfortunately, the way the production cycles work with Adidas, et cetera, you just don't call them and say, hey, I need, 100,000 more tomorrow. It just doesn't work that way.
Wait, have you tried? Just give them the...
Trust me, we've tried. We have tried.
Hey, it's Larry.
They, with all due respect and love for our partners at Adidas, they produce a few jerseys for a few clubs around the world. And there's this small tournament coming next summer called the World Cup, where they have some commitments and deadlines that they have to make.
Well, as long as they're very happy. But just to follow up on some of those, this is the brave new world, isn't it? With regards to being able to televise, to have these broadcast partners in Korea. I mean, Apple is a global product where they're able to do it. So this is unexpected, but being able to, this is important, not just in Korea, but the Korean community here, to be able to serve this group that idolize Son Heung-Min for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's fantastic. One of the great things about Apple as a platform that, I have said and others have said is that, one of the things we always wanted to do from the beginning, 2018 onward, was to find a way to connect with young fandom in Uruguay who are watching Diego Rossi perform for us. He's getting a look on their national team, Brian Rodriguez, Pancho Janela, Marco Arena, who was playing for Costa Rica at the time he was playing for us. How do you connect with the fan in the home country who really loves the player? And, pre-Apple, that was difficult. Now Apple is available, essentially anywhere you have a device and an internet or a cell connection. But, to their credit, and thanks to people like Seth Bacon at MLS, we were able to also, take advantage of the opportunity in Korea and have deals made with a couple of, Korean-based outlets to make it that much easier for the Korean fans to consume the product and stay connected to their hero, their national team captain. And look, it's just been a great experience where, look, the Tiger supporter group has been with us since, the beginning of the beginning of the beginning, before we ever kicked the ball. But it's funny now, when I talk to some of those folks, they're like, hey, I have an aunt who I've invited for 8 years, didn't want to come, no interest, doesn't love football, et cetera, et cetera. Guess who wants to come to the game now? My aunt, because it's sunny. It transcends everything. You don't have to be a football fan. People love the player, idolize the player, want to come see the player. And look, we're seeing it. We've learned this in digging into the Ohtani experience at the Dodgers. Whatever the borders disagreements over time, hard feelings, grudges, whatever it is across Southeast Asia, Ohtani isn't only beloved and idolized by Japanese fans. He is a hero throughout the region, and the same holds for Sonny.
Yeah. And there's these gateways, because with regards to catering, maybe that's not the right word for the Korean fans. Like, there's this giant mural in K-Town where it's like,
oh, it's beautiful.
Touchdown Jesus of Sonny, and people see that. And K-Town's visited by a lot of tourists from all over the world. And the relationship with Japanese, Korean entertainment, K-pop, all of that is consumed by non-Koreans. This is a phenomenon that's global.
Yes. No, and we like to say that we have become the house of K-pop at BMO Stadium here in Los Angeles. We've had any number of acts from Twice, J-Hope, Atiz, 17, Blackpink. It's been awesome. And now you see sort of an intersection, a little bit of the football side of the house and the music side of the house through, a Korean national team star like Sonny and the type of music we host very often at the stadium.
I've seen Larry's Apple Music playlist, a lot of K-pop, a little Bachman Turner Overdrive.
For sure. Yes. Taking care of business, man.
How do you see just the big picture as we go to 2026 and beyond with Sonny and the business prospect that he can help? How do you view what he can do for LAFC as he is clearly invested and, perhaps bringing some friends, whatever that looks like? How do you see that?
Yeah, no, look, I think, it's funny and a little bit frightening, Max, when the joint North American bid was successful in 2018, and you start thinking, okay, 26 World Cup. More often than not, like 99.9% of the time, the reaction was, it's a long way off. We'll think about it later. But it is now upon us. It's frightening that a couple of months ago, we had the 1 year out event on the lot at Fox Studios. And so it's coming, and it is an incredible opportunity for LAFC, the other clubs in the league. The league is a collective enterprise to take advantage of a moment for a league that was born out of a World Cup decades ago to now be, take advantage and tell the story of we are a league participating and affecting the outcome of this World Cup. You have a captain of the defending champion Argentinian national team who plays in our league. You have the captain of the South Korean national team who plays for our club in our league. You have countless other players. It's going to be a gauntlet, but hopefully Denis is there. With Gabon, there are a lot of Canadian national team players in our league.
You could be there.
Yeah. Chanier will be there. Our former keeper, Max Crepeau, Dane St. Clair out of Minnesota playing for Canada, a bunch of guys playing for Canada, and people playing for all other national teams. So it's this really exciting moment to take advantage of the fact that it is here, Mexico, the US, and Canada, and that we're going to have all of these players playing and tell that story because, and you've been here longer than I have, Max, in this league, because you go back to the beginning of the beginning. And we developed a reputation early, whether it was deserved or not, doesn't matter, that, it's a retirement league and the quality of play isn't that good. And it's like a bastardized American version of the beautiful game. And unfortunately, people who haven't been to a game at Energizer Park in St. Louis or Geodis Park in Nashville, Tennessee, or Q2 in Austin or BMO in LA, they don't know that they're just wrong. And this is an opportunity indirectly to tell a story that will hopefully get people to give us a chance. Because whether they come to BMO, they go to Geodis, they go to Energizer, the new stadium, Etihad, New York City, Freedom Park in Miami, they're going to experience something that they did not expect. And we've had this. It's not only the hey, I'm not a sports fan, I don't do soccer, I don't understand soccer. You know, we get those folks all the time and we convert them. But we've had them from all over: Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich, Man United, Tottenham. You know, we've had players and executives and owners from clubs all over the world who walk in with a very low bar in their mind, you know, thinking, I know what this is going to be. And they walk out again talking about, wow, I would love to come back. This was awesome. I close my eyes and I listen, and it's like I'm home. And I just feel like this opportunity with the World Cup, the greatest sporting spectacle on the planet. You know, I don't do numbers that well because I get chastised for always being inaccurate with the numbers. But, you know, last Super Bowl, about 130 million people watched it globally. Last World Cup, 5 billion. So when Gianni Infantino and others from FIFA say it's like we're putting on 48 Super Bowls, they're not far off.
Yeah. That's a huge number. Your numbers are pretty good. You're good with the math.
Thank you. Just don't check those on ChatGPT or anything. But now you take this opportunity and you have the opportunity to tell a story to 5 billion people. That do you want to know what Sonny does for his day job? It's here with this club, the Black and Gold, in the City of Angels.
You don't have to go anywhere. You could stay right here. It's all here in the United States. One-stop shopping.
Yeah.
That's very well put, Larry. By the way you rattled off those stadiums, very impressive. So whatever about the math.
Look, one of my favorite things is to ask the hypothetical question, Max, if I had said to you 10 years ago, you know where this league is really going to find success? Nashville, Tennessee, and Austin, Texas. You would have laughed for 20 minutes.
The South, no chance. Yeah.
Right. But two of our best markets, sold out stadiums, packed houses every time they play, great fan bases, supporter sections. It's fabulous.
That's brilliant. And I was gonna ask you about, you know, with Lionel Messi signed for 2028, but yeah, we're on the right track. But it feels like we really are. And this World Cup, we forget to mention it, but it's gonna have an impact. The question is how big, but the way you describe it, it feels like it could be pretty significant, more than any other World Cup prior.
Yeah, look, I think the pure inertia, people are going to be focused on this tournament for 39 days, and, you know, it will deliver. It inevitably delivers, right? There's going to be some Cinderella stories. There's going to be some upsets. There's going to be some great games. We're going to see some penalty kicks, right? You know, it's going to have a little bit of everything because it always does. And coming out of that, it's just, it will be very natural and expected that there are a lot of folks who never gave MLS a look, who will, folks who had given it a look. You know, league is old now. Could have been 20 years ago. And they're like, oh, you know, I went to a Galaxy game when Beckham was there and I haven't been back since. You know, hopefully get those people to come back. And I think we have an opportunity to convert the people to our right and our left. To our right sit football snobs who are like, I watch the Premier League or I watch the Bundesliga, that's it. But we tell the right story. They realize the level of player in our league, participating in the World Cup, playing for their national teams on teams that didn't qualify. And hopefully we draw some of those folks in from our right. And on our left are folks like you and me. We love sports. We really love football, but give me some baseball, give me some ice hockey, give me some MMA, whatever. I'll watch it. And if we can pull those people in from the left, now you're really talking.
Yeah,
and I think it's gonna happen.
Yes, that's what we wanted. That's a great place to lay it down there, Larry. And it's always been a tough job, but to hear this and the enthusiasm, not just in LA, but in other markets, it's easier to get people excited about MLS at large. So it's going to be an exciting few months for sure as we head towards the World Cup. Thanks for sharing your enthusiasm with us today, Larry.
Always great to be here, Max. And I assume we're going to do a separate show about the triumphant return of Iron Maiden in 2026.
Well, I got to, when they travel, they like to play a soccer game. They beat the doors off us last year. They beat us like 9, or when they were last here in 2019, they destroyed us. So we have they got a lot of, they brought in some players, so to speak. So we got to schedule that.
Well, we might know a couple.
Okay.
If they're bringing ringers, we're bringing ringers.
We get Sonny to pop in there for a 15-minute shift. He's got a free Sunday.
He's retired, but I'm sure Vela can still hit with the left foot.
Oh, my God.
No problem.
Good. We had in the cards. Larry Freedman, co-president owner here of LAFC, always so giving with his time. Larry, appreciate it. We'll see you out there for this playoff run.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
That's all the time we have. Larry Freedman, know him and love him. We'll be back again on Black and Gold Insider, where we get to know everyone a little bit better here that wears the black and gold. And until we meet again, let's go B&G.